I first started out, I thought balance was working all the time around the clock and honoring what I thought was my passion. Is like, well, if I'm not giving every ounce of me to my passion of this industry, then I'm failing it. That's what I see a lot of people, not just people trying to get into the biz, but adults now when they work. They look at me and they go, oh, I don't think he wants to work as hard as I do, so I don't know about that. And it's like, well, it's not that. It's that I want to work smarter, not harder. I'm Todd Haberkorn, and you will know me as your favorite dragon slayer, Natsu Dragneel. Way cooler than Grateful Buster. And you can catch me on Behind the Mic right now.
Todd, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a real pleasure to have you in the studio today.
Yeah, thank you. I like interviews like this where you've got a magnificent setup, Tanner. That's a green flag. That's a green flag. I look out for both red and green, and when I see green, I got to call it. It's all very nice lighting, sounds great. Those are wins. Like I feel like in the interview space, it's definitely the wild, wild west, and this is like, if we were in a town, in a little small western town, you would be like the main casino in the town at the center that all the commerce is built around. It's very nice.
Oh, thank you so much. If your studio is anything to go by, it really says a lot about your experience and all the stories you have. So I think my first question really is, because you're a pretty well-known voice actor, you have a backstory that many people are interested in. What exactly drew you down this path to becoming a voice actor and pursuing this profession to where you are now?
When I think about a lot of the people that I was inspired by when I was coming up, whether it was Al Pacino or not strangely, but Dick Van Dyke. The reason I say strangely is because there's quite an age gap there, but it's like, everybody loves Dick Van Dyke. When I think about folks like that, and I feel like kind of unbeknownst to me till I think about it in these moments, it's kind of similar in the sense that, nobody planned to get to where they are. I think one thing that I noticed with those gents that I mentioned and try to myself is that there is an endurance that is built through trying to just figure it out. I will say there's a little bit more planning there once I kind of felt the fish on the end of the hook, and I sense, there's a tug. Okay, let me plan this. All right, I need both hands on the rod. I need to stabilize myself on the deck. I need to start reeling it in. Like those manifested in certain amounts of planning, but in general, overall, the broad strokes, there's no... voiceover was never in the cards for me at all. And so I think that's why I started in such what would be considered, looking back, like an odd place, because I started in theater and then I went to on camera, and then voiceover was the last piece of the puzzle. But now at this point, it's the longest piece of the puzzle, but it wasn't planned at all. Because
you did study acting while you were expanding your knowledge base into this kind of creative space. What would you say was your biggest takeaway?
Well, I started studying it when I was a kid, and I studied it through middle school, through high school. I majored in it in college. I went to the Governor's School of the Arts. That's why sometimes I get a little... I become a little bit of a wrinkled shirt when I see people that are just like, I could wake up and just start doing it, right? And I'm like, well, yeah, I guess so. I dedicated my entire life to it, but yeah, sure, just wake up and do it. I get a little, those are the moments where I'm like, oh yeah, I am human, and I do have certain things I got to work through. But I think the biggest takeaway, and stuff that I'm still learning, I think that's a good key for myself that I need to always keep on my keychain, is that I'm always trying to, even when I'm not thinking about it, I find these learning opportunities at all times. I think that sometimes there's a little bit of a trap, and I think we all fall into it, is that when we've done something a long time, we think we're the absolute authority on it. But I would say that to a certain extent, that could be true. You maybe authority with a lowercase a, but it never means you know everything. I don't think you possibly can, especially with just the vastness of this space. You can't know everything. You can know a lot, and I will say that I know a lot, but I don't know everything, and I hope I hold on to that, because it's made me want to learn and adjust and try to be as flexible as I can, instead of just like a rigid brick wall, because I think that doesn't withstand the hurricane as well as a palm tree that has that flexibility.
Yeah, exactly. There's too much knowledge, really, when it comes to voiceover. People have co-written tons of books. There's videos, articles stemming from before the internet was even a thing. And I would say it's, to your point, it's impossible to know everything and be that authority on voiceover. And so it's important for people to keep in mind that no matter how good they get, they're still going to be learning well into their career, no matter what they think or realistically say.
Yeah. And I mean, there are definitely wizards and sorceresses out there of that world, but that's with anything. There's always going to be what do they call it? Anchor beings in every industry.
Yeah.
Because the thing is also, it's like with me, I can only obviously speak to my experience, but with me, it's like a cocktail of things that brought me to where I am. It's a combination of, right place, right time, right people making decisions that helped me get to the place where I'm at, and then also tenacity, and there is a certain amount of talent involved, and just hard work, just like really very, very hard work. There were many, many years where I was doing crazy schedules that I wouldn't wish on anyone, and I don't wish those on anyone. When I'm directing stuff and producing things right now, I always try to prioritize the comfort as much as I can of the people that I'm working with. So I will always be the one that's like trying to respect everybody's time, because one thing that I always try to remember is that time is our least renewable, most valuable resource. So I try to keep that in mind.
Yeah. And going back to what you just said, so talking about the cocktail that would make up some of these experiences, what would you say is the cocktail that made up your first experience in voiceover?
My very, very first that nobody would know about, and I don't even remember the name of I had just graduated college, and again, voiceover is not on my radar. Even though I was in Texas at the same place that Funimation was, and Funimation is kind of the nexus for all things anime, which became Crunchyroll, of course. But I was focused on camera. I was in theater and on camera. And when I got my first VO role, it was for a computer company. I remember that, and it was like the announcer for a computer commercial. And again, no knowledge of voiceover. I had to figure it out. Luckily, I love tech, and I buy a lot of B&H. That site loves me. Unfortunately, I go there way too much. And so I had gear. I had the gear. In college, I was playing gigs, guitar, singing. I was singer-songwriter, and I was playing at clubs, doing gigs late at night. That's why I had the recording gear. So I set that recording gear up, and I remember I didn't have any none of that. I didn't know all of that stuff yet. I just knew I had to get this recorded. So I figured it out. I had to take my mixer. I had this hybrid mixer and a mic really meant for singer-songwriters doing their thing, not necessarily really VO. So that was my first trial by fire. And there was nobody to bounce that off of because I didn't know VO. I didn't know anyone in that world. So I didn't have, and this wasn't like I could reach out to ChatGPT and ask, how do I set this up? I had to literally just figure out, okay, X to Y to Z to A to B to C, and get it done. And then from there, export it to a computer. And then after that, how do I get it to, because we didn't have Dropbox and all that kind of stuff. I think that's what I appreciate, that aspect I appreciate about like older films that I watch. I have so many movies. I collect a lot of physical media. And I think one thing that people don't readily realize is when they're watching a movie, it's like, they didn't have drones. If you want that aerial shot, that's a dude in a freaking helicopter He cleared the airspace, got on a helipad, has a pilot. They went up, calibrated the camera. They only had a couple minutes to shoot because of the film stock. They had to make sure they got it, that it was in foot. Like, people don't think about that. They're just like, oh, well, they just took a drone up in the air and got that footage, right? It's like, no, bro, that was a day. I appreciate things like that about on the production side of things, and I've always been curious about that. And because of that, it led to me wearing pretty much every production hat you could wear on camera side, the theater side, and the voiceover side. I've done every one of those roles because I guess I wasn't a publicist, let's say. I didn't wear that hat in production. But like with theater, it's like when we're majoring in it, they make you do every role. So you do costuming, you do makeup, you do lighting, so that you can learn all those different aspects. And that's what I try to tell kids that come up to me, and adults that want to get into voiceover. I always say that I don't have an exact recipe for you, because the way I got in is not the way that anyone ever is going to get in ever again. And so I can only give you a limited viewpoint, but it always comes back to really embracing that concept that knowledge is power. And if knowledge is power, don't you want to be as powerful as possible? And I find that's where we see a lot of division, in the sense that the people that are like, I want to be a voice actor, once they see what it costs to be a voice actor in terms of the effort, the time, the elbow grease, many times it's a bit too rich for their palate. And that's not even talking about cost. Cost is a separate thing, but just the cost of your input as a human being, as an artist.
The cost of learning, the cost of effort, and like actually being able to manage relationships with people as well.
I still don't do great at that. Like, I'm not, speaking of Al Pacino, I was just listening to his autobiography, because I really, really, really honed in on him when I was a kid growing up. He talks about that, how he's like, he's not great at this, he's not great at that. And so I'm always a work in progress. My construction sign that says, caution, construction, hard hat area, that's always up.
Yeah, it's like airport construction. It's always happening.
Yeah, it's LAX. I'm always LAX. LAX is always under construction for years and years and years. And so that's basically, I think if we're doing it right, maybe that's all of us. It should be, because we're all on this ride for the first time. We're all doing this ride for the first time. We're not all armed with the How to Live This Life for the First Time for Dummies book.
Yeah, exactly. No, and because I was reading an article from the Southern Methodist University, which you attended. It was one of their alumni articles, talking about how you describe yourself as a problem solver. And I think that basically learning with Trial by Fire, as you have stated, is an excellent way to becoming a problem solver. And I want, would you agree?
Many times that's what I've had to do, and that's when I have learned the most vibrant lessons, is when I've had to problem solve, and that spurred other little nuggets of things that I learned. Yeah, there have been times when I remember I was producing a film and the crew's there, we're all ready to go, it's bright and early, the sun's poking up, just yawning at us, and then someone goes, yeah, we don't have that location that we were supposed to have today. And I was like, well, wait, what did you just say to me? As my neurons are firing. And so we had to figure out a workaround on that, and that taught me certain aspects of production where it's like, okay, now I need to make sure that I do this the night before, or have a backup, or blah. But that's stuff you don't think about when I was producing this, I was like 21 or something like that. So it's like things like that you're not thinking about necessarily, but it's because of those pressure points, those pain points, that you're forced to think about them, and then boom, you grow from that. And so I've had a lot of spicy bites of life food to teach me the amount of spice I like and don't like.
Yeah. That's like a perfect little soundbite as well. So, speaking more to your career when you started voice acting, what was one of the theatrical or physical habits that you had that you kind of had to kind of strip back a little bit or adapt when you first stepped in front of that microphone?
That I didn't need to people please as much. That the director and the writer and the people that are in the session are dealing with other problems at the same time. I am in there and that is my session, but that doesn't mean I'm their sole focus. I felt like I needed to make sure that spotlight was nice and bright and they knew everything I could do. And that's not always the recipe that they're looking for at the moment. Like if they bring me in, they want eggs Benedict. They think that I can make lunch and dinner as well, and that probably is true, but they just want eggs Benedict. It's breakfast. They don't want me to bring out, lentil soup, the salmon, they don't want every dish I can make. They're here for the eggs Benedict. They see the menu. They know I can make other things. So I had to learn that. And then also sometimes it's a balance. It's just all a balance. It's. I think many things in the universe, when there's balance, man, they frickin' thrive. When you have a forest and there's too many wolves, well, the forest doesn't do so swell because there's not enough prey. But if there's too much prey, well, then the vegetation suffers because it's feeding all the prey. So when you have a nice balance of wolves, a nice balance of prey, a nice balance of trees, man, that ecosystem's thriving. And so I'm always looking for balance as much as I can in every aspect of life. And so I wasn't always like that. That's why I hunger for it now, because when I first started out, I thought balance was working all the time around the clock and, honoring what I thought was my passion. It's like, well, if I'm not giving every ounce of me to my passion of this industry, then I'm failing it. And that's what I see a lot of people, not just people trying to get into the biz, but adults now when they work, their ambition, they look at me and they go, oh, I don't think he wants to work as hard as I do, so I don't know about that. And it's like, well, it's not that. It's that I want to work smarter, not harder. So
exactly.
But that's what's for me. I mean, some people, they're just in that loop and they're just going to stay in that workaholic space, and that's what's comfortable for them. And it doesn't necessarily serve them the best, but they're not ready to hear that. So that's what I've had to learn as well, is that just because I see something, and I guess it's like if you and I, Tanner, we're looking at a painting on a wall, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, that frame is chipped up there, and we need to fix that. Maybe you're debuting this piece of art to me, and you don't want to hear about the frame. You just want to hear what I think about the art. We'll get to the frame being chipped later, but tonight's the unveiling of this painting. You don't need me telling you that frame is chipped. You need me to say, this looks great. Congratulations on the opening night. Awesome. Let's meet next week. I got something to tell you.
Yeah, exactly. And so if you were to basically divvy up your career with the projects you have done, what would you say would be the percentage for things like anime, regular voiceover, or like more commercial or dubbing projects, and then video games and directing experience?
I think the lowest percentage of things, I've done them and I've done great. I've been very fortunate to be a part of great ones, but it's commercials. Taking the feedback from other people, I don't have that smooth voice that fades into the product background. When you hear my voice, you're like, what's that? And sometimes that works. Like I did this commercial last year for, it played right before the NBA Finals. It was a commercial about, I have it, but it's like this trophy, and I was one of the heads on this trophy, and the camera's spinning around this NBA Finals trophy to kick off the season. It worked for that because it was a very specific commercial, but generally with commercials, I don't find that that's where I thrive as much as, of course I'd love to, but it's just not like Erica Lindbeck has an amazing commercial voice. And so when you hear it, it's like, did you just try to sell me something? Oh, you were just talking? Okay. Like for me, it's different. So where I tend to swim, I swim in the waters of video games, cartoons, anime, and I permeate all those different hats too. So whether it's a villain, best friend, a good guy. It's that variety is there, and I guess that's where I feel the most comfortable, because when I started in theater, I always played character roles. Meaning, I was always the character actor instead of the leading man. I wasn't leading man until I got to film. Then I was leading man. But in theater, I was the character actor. So I felt most comfortable playing anything that wasn't me. Anything that wasn't... Because I think sometimes casting went through this phase, the industry went through this phase where it's like, you can only play that role if that is exactly you. And for me, that's a malfunction for me, because I'm like, well, I got into this industry and started to be anything but myself. I didn't want to be me. I wasn't comfortable with that. Still am not. When I'm off, not on camera or in on mode, I actually am very quiet, because I was like, where does that come from? Why is that? And I think it's because I'm so used to the majority of the things I say in a day come from a script. From my whole life, since I was 10 years old, the majority of stuff I said during a waking day was from a script. These are all things that I've kind of pieced together over the past recent years to try to understand, kind of the vegetable that I am, I guess.
As you were accumulating skills with like taking like a theater approach with working in different parts of production, when did you start to show interest in working on the other side of the glass with things like voice directing?
Well, actually kind of right away. So when I was at Funimation, and I mentioned this a little earlier, that the way I got in would never happen now. It just wouldn't. When I got in at Funimation, they didn't have enough voice actors because it was still this niche thing. Yes, Pokemon was big, Dragon Ball was big, but it was still niche. It was big for small markets. And so they were desperate for people. They needed people. They couldn't find, So when I got in, and the other actors that were there, we would go from studio to studio in the building. So it'd be like, you finished there? Okay, run over to Studio B, hop in there real fast. Okay, you're done there? We got a line for you in Studio D. And so rinse and repeat that for years. And so when I first got to Funimation, I don't know why I thought that. I was just like, how do I become a director here? What do I need to do for that? How do I become a writer? And so I immediately was campaigning to figure out what I needed to do within that studio structure there to try to do that. Now I don't necessarily recommend that for that. Again, that was when I was in that mindset of like, let me work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365. That the industry will take and take if you let it. But then you wake up one day and you're like, what the hell? I'm at my own funeral and there's one guy here and it's the dude that opened the door. Like, I don't want that to happen. And so it's like you have to, again, it goes back to that balance. And that's so hard for young people in the industry to hear. That balance is, they're allergic to it. I can think of a couple actors in my head right now that everybody knows that I'm like, oh man, you're that balance. I'm telling you, you're gonna want it, and you could do it now, but they're not going to. And I don't necessarily begrudge them that, because I don't think that. I think it's like when we're in a new relationship. When everybody's in a new relationship, in that first 6 months, you're clinically crazy. You're doing and saying things you will not do 6 months from then. But no one can tell you any different. No one can tell you, like, dude, I think you got to slow down. Maybe don't marry her after the first week of a date, And so I think that's just, there's a love sickness that happens to people when they first get in, and they're just not gonna, they got to find that path themselves. I had to. I get it. I had to. We all do the best we can with what we have, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's all we realistically can do, is like when it comes to something we love and we enjoy learning to basically get better at. That's all we really can do, man. And because I wanted to also ask, because Natsu Dragneel, a pretty intense role, but also you've been doing this for hundreds of episodes. So with like your voice director mindset, as well as being a voice actor and having all these different skills, was there a different approach that you took to basically working on that anime, as well as basically just trying to see if there was anything that you could do in addition to that voice?
Well, for me, I was just very comfortable with the director, Tyler. I was very comfortable in the Funimation space because I was essentially there every day for 12 hours a day. And so I felt free to... I feel like when there is a comfort there and when you feel calm, you can really create in a high-octane way. And so it wasn't that I approached the Fairy Tale any differently than any other show. I felt like Tyler saw something in me that resonated with him for that role. And so some of the heavy lifting was already done because he's like, this role would be good for this person. And so he and I had worked together where I was his lead for other shows that he'd done. So we had a shorthand with each other already. At no point did I think Fairy Tale would ever become what it became. I mean, it really has. I'm so honored to carry that mantle and to hear regularly from people all over the world what that show means to them. It is such an honor. I'm so grateful to be one of the spices in that elixir that they drink that brings them comfort. And it's what an amazing gift for all involved, from the watcher to the performer to everyone in between. And my goal now is I want to get us to 1,000 episodes. So if I can just get us to 1,000 episodes, I mean, One Piece can do it, Detective Conan can do it, Pokemon can do it, Dragon Ball can do it. We can.
Oh my god. Yeah, because I'm normally like quite into a lot of anime, but it hasn't gotten to that level of or that high of an episode count. For me, Solo Leveling, which just got a movie announced recently, which I'm very excited about. Demon Slayer movie, I've been following that like since its inception on screen, and then also Spy X Family, that's a fun one as well. And then with Solo Leveling, because I think it was what was it, Tomb Raider King, that they said like, oh, it's literally just Solo Leveling but with a different name, and I'm just like, I mean, I want to explore something new, but and then yeah, so like when I actually learned about like who you are and what you've done, you actually put Fairy Tail kind of on my list as well. So I'm gonna be starting that next and seeing if I can catch up to
awesome.
like the latest episode as well.
Yeah,
but,
I hope you enjoy it. It's such a from what I hear from the fans, they really love the themes of the show and the battles are epic, and I definitely, my throat gets a workout on that one. So I think they're hopefully we'll be jumping into season 2 of the 100 Years Quest sometime soon. So my fingers are crossed.
Yeah, actually kind of touch a little more on that. How do you like look out for your vocal health when it comes to such a taxing industry on people's voices? Because I've heard stories about the physical strain it takes, and like it actually produces physical symptoms. Like for example, Keiji Tang, who is a pretty well-known voice actor working on Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, and so many other projects.
Known him for
he told me about like because you probably heard the story then as well, because like how he coughed up blood during an audition once.
Yeah, I think again that goes back to balance. When you don't balance your universe, the universe will let you know in one way or another. I've learned that lesson myself, for sure. Nobody likes it when they taste iron in their mouth. I've done that once for a show. What I do is I keep it real simple. I just drink warm, whether it be water or hot tea, and I just go on vocal rest. There's really nothing that, for me, that works better than that. I've definitely lost my voice for days on end. I've ripped it and shredded it and everything in between, and I just try to take care of it as much as I can. I was just doing a session this week where I was like, listen, I had a recent surgery. I can't really let it rip. I was told by my doctor, don't do X amount of level of yelling, please. Now, me from years ago, I would have been like, what's the doctor know? but I definitely listened, and they were receptive to that. I was thankful. But yeah, it's taking care of yourself and it's just setting those balance points. A lot of people call them boundaries, but that works. But I think they're balance points. Setting up your balance infrastructure.
Exactly. Yeah, knowing when to basically take a certain action once you've hit that point, really, to make sure you don't go past it and then cause any incident. Exactly. Yeah. Now, I wanted to also ask a little more about a project you did recently. So you worked as an ADR director on Scarlet, and one thing that really took, because when I was watching the Infinity Castle movie, I went out to go see it in theaters, and then that trailer showed up on the screen, and I thought that the visuals were insane. And I kind of wanted to ask, from when you initially started with voiceover, has there been a noticeable difference with performances from say for example, a traditional anime or a voiceover project compared to something with such intense visuals?
I think whenever I've directed a project like with Scarlet, I always just try to go for the most authentic performance. Now, sometimes that authenticity takes the form of a really big, bombastic delivery. I think the idea of the anime voice acting style is a little bit of it gets a little bit of a bad rep in the sense that many times anime is so vibrant, as to what you're mentioning, vibrant and colorful, and there's so much movement on screen. You need to be bigger to match the visuals, because if you're not, it's going to be incongruent with what we're seeing and hearing. It doesn't mean there isn't potential to be any less real than a more quote-unquote grounded performance. And I think that's where I struggle with when I'm working with people, is that they throw out all these terms, but they don't necessarily know where they come from or mean. So they say, don't do the anime acting style. And it's like, well, there's a lot of different anime out there. If you look at a Studio Ghibli movie and the performances in that, that's an anime, but that's a very quiet slice of life telling of the story. And then when you look at Dragon Ball, those are gigantic, enormous, powerful attacks. If you were just like, Kame, Hame, ha, it wouldn't work. You gotta be big. And so it's like, I think that people, they throw things out there because it's what they were told and what they heard and what they're used. And so I think it just rinse and repeat, that term kind of makes the rounds. But I always try to just approach, no matter what I'm directing, just an authentic moment. And if that means it's a big moment, if it's authentic, then it's big. If it's a small moment, then it's small. And so whether it's when I directed Scarlet, or I directed Hello Neighbor, or I directed Blue Period with Johnny Young Bosch, or any of those shows in between, Mech Cadet U, when I directed Ming Na Wen and Daniel Dae Kim, and all of those cats, I always am just going for that right balance of authenticity. Because really, at the end of the day, when I'm on board as a director, you're really employing my judgment. So that's what you're looking for, is really my specific judgment on things. And so that's how I try to approach it.
What is a kind of classic convention that you have had with directing other voice actors in trying to get the best version of their performance?
I think the thing that cooks a tasty meal up for a production is a couple ingredients. One, you got to make sure the actor's comfortable and that they feel good, so that they feel ready to create. You want to make sure your materials are ready, and that goes from the script all the way to a competent engineer, all the way to a great recording space with the right temperature, etc. And then the materials also extend to, is the video ready? Can we see it clearly, etc. All of those little kind of fly under the radar aspects are things that I always look out for, talking about red flags and green flags and stuff like that. And those are important baselines to have for maximum creative muscle, I feel like. Then in terms of actually how to get the juice out of that beat that's in the booth, it just depends on that actor. Many times when I work on a project, I get to cast it, which I'm very thankful for. There's a show I'm directing right now for Netflix, and I guess a lot of times other directors are like, oh, you got to cast that? I have to get submissions. I go, well, I don't know. So I get to cast it, and I like to bring in people that I'm comfortable with, and that I, at the same time, know their capabilities and that they can knock it out of the park. There are times, though, when I work on things where I don't get to cast and I'm introduced to new people, and we've got to take a moment to figure out each other's timing. Just how do they like to work? What kind of direction do they like to get? Some actors are very car mechanic-y. They're like, bro, just tell me how to read it. Like when I directed, he was a very nice guy. I directed Fred Durst on his first session for Hello Neighbor. And he's not an actor. He liked doing it, but he had just come off his tour in Brazil. He was tired, and he was a mechanic about it. He was like, tell me how I should do it. Tell me how to do it. You do it, and I'll copy you. And I'm like, okay, that's what he wants. There are other actors where they're like, you got to lead them to the treasure. You got to put out a little gold bullion, and then they walk down the cave, and then they find it. So there's all sorts of different modalities that I have to masks that need to be worn to match the mask that you're getting from the booth, I feel like. So it just depends.
What would you say is something that you've noticed, like relationship-wise, in this industry? So, because you were saying like how your approach to casting, you kind of like approach people who you've seen like what they're capable of. Would you say that is probably one of the most important relationships in this kind of industry?
I could probably be a lot better about it. I don't go out as much as I probably should and interact with people because I really value my space and my quiet time, I guess. But yeah, I think that is important. I should be doing it more. I should be going out more. I should be going to red carpet things and stuff like that. But I get for me, it's like I got a lot of things to do outside of that, and then also I really think about, I don't know, Tanner, if you've got animals at home, but I got a puppy that they only get, if we're lucky, they only get 14 summers. So I want to make sure I'm there for her as much as I can be.
Oh, yeah. I would like to get a dog at some point, and I'm torn between like either a husky or a Yorkie, but that's a conversation for another time. But because that was going to be my next question. So you also work with a nonprofit, the Humane Beings. You keep talking about balance. So how do you balance that with such a busy and varied career?
When I created the Humane Beings in essentially 2020, I actually was going to get land and build on it and get staff, etc. And I'm so glad I didn't for two reasons. One, it would have been years of construction and permits and fundraising to get all of that done and ready. And it would have been 5 years or so until I helped a single animal. And that I was like, I don't like those odds. And the second thing is, there are already so many amazing animal rescues and shelters out there already. And they have the bandwidth to dedicate their lives every single day to it. I make choices in my life daily that I hope benefit animal kind and the environment and stuff, as I feel like is important to do, because I think a lot of times humans are taught that they're kind of the gatekeepers of the planet, as opposed to we share the planet. We share it with everything on it. So when I created the Humane Beings, I pivoted to the idea of, well, why don't we be sort of the maids of the animal rescue world, in the sense that we'll focus on fundraising and marketing for these sanctuaries and rescues that don't have the bandwidth to do that. They're too busy doing their mission statement of taking care of their animals. So why don't we make it our mission statement to try to help them? We're small. We're very tiny right now. We just started. We're only I think maybe 2 years in. thehumanebeings.org is where we're at. And that's our mission. So, for example, we just went to a wolf rescue with Jonas Scott, who voices the lead, and I directed him in Beastars, the last season. And so we went to this wolf sanctuary. There probably is an elf sanctuary that I'm not aware of.
It's called the North Pole, yeah.
Yeah, I got to get that. It's so hot. I would love to go to the North Pole right now. And so we went there and we volunteer and we film the experience so that we can make footage, clips for that rescue, to highlight that rescue. Then we make a donation and we volunteer and we roll up our sleeves and do what they need. That scratches a lot of different itches for me. I want to be involved with the animals, so we got that covered. I like editing and cinematography and stuff, so I love the filming aspect of it. And then we help them, give them a little financial leg up, hopefully a little bit. And we also open the minds and hearts of people that have never done it before, like Jonah. And we also had one of my engineers that was on the show. We brought him to Caden. He was awesome. But what we try to do with that footage is beyond highlight that rescue, hopefully open up people's, a little bit of their empathy door and a little bit of their, work that compassion muscle a little bit. And people have been very receptive of it, but I absolutely don't have bandwidth to make it a full-time thing, unfortunately. It's just I'm on this path, this my path in the industry here, and I think that that's important because it can give a little bit of a platform to this organization, and so, the completist in me is like, well, if we can't do it 1,000%, I don't want to do it at all. And it's like, well, no, that doesn't help anybody. So I try to do as much as I can within reason, because animals will always need help every single day that they're alive and we're alive. And so I hope to just grow it over time. And yeah, it is difficult to balance wise. It's very difficult, but it's more difficult for those animals that need the help. So yeah, and my heart goes out to all the people in the animal welfare world that dedicate all their hours, their waking hours. They've sacrificed so much of themselves for that cause, and that's a really admirable thing that they're doing.
Yeah. I had a rescue when I was a young kid, and her name was Bella. She was a husky lab mix, and she was so beautiful. She had 2 different colored eyes, and then coincidentally there was like a whole like ice cream gelato shop that had same breed, or like it was just like an illustration of the same breed with 2 different colored eyes, and we're just like, this we have to go here every day now. Well,
and Tanner, thank you for doing that, because for letting a rescue into your world, and yes, I 100% think you should, because gosh, how sad is that yes, they're living in a quote unquote safe environment in a little cage in a shelter, but they survive their very short life and they only see the 4 walls of a shelter when you could give them such a beautiful home with a full heart. And so I hope you can find that time, and hopefully the stars align to where you can get the husky you're looking for, because I know they're out there.
Oh God, I need one. I need one so bad. Although not right now, because it's absolutely boiling over here.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wish that on any animal.
Yeah.
And so this was this kind of experience with the Humane Beings? Did that overlap or cross your mind, or was this just another job when you were approached to do Beastars, or did you like seek out that opportunity to do the final season of Beastars, or was that kind of brought to you by someone?
The studio that produced the final season reached out to me. They're a studio that I've worked with for a long time, and they approached me to direct it, and I inherited this show because obviously it had been running for several years prior to me coming on board, and I just thought like, oh my gosh, Netflix, we should do something with this. And Netflix has a lot of tentacles doing all sorts of different things, and they were totally on board. But as many things do, it's like they're over here putting this fire out and this fire out and this fire out, and so we didn't get to join forces as robustly as I would have hoped. But the yearning was there. I think for them, they just I think it was one of those things where it's like, that's a great idea, and then it's like they leave the room and they think that it was just handled. And it's like, well, no, we have things to figure out. But I get it. There's so many things going on. So we were very happy to I'm glad those synergistic things aligned, and Jonah was down to come out and play, and Caden, our engineer, was down to come out and play with us with the wolves, and what a cool experience. And so next, what we're doing was supposed to be this weekend. We had to move it, just schedule musical chairs, but we're going to go to a bee rescue next month, and so that'll be fun. Yeah, we've done We've done a variety. We try to do a variety. We've been to a bat sanctuary. We've been to one with lions, tigers, and bears, wolves, now bees, and then after that, we're gonna finish the year with. My goal is to do a marine life rescue, some sort of marine life. So that's on the docket. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, so many important, because also, and Jonah Scott, I think I know the video you're talking about. I actually watched it before this, and so I already followed the Humane Beings account.
Oh, beautiful.
Everyone needs to do, by the way.
Thank you, Tanner. Thank you.
The cinematic nature was what really drew my attention to it, because that's, like, with doom scrolling, quality really matters, especially when it comes to social media, and that's kind of what drew my attention to it. And
that's so good to hear. Thank you. I'm going to tell my brother-in-law that, because, if nobody knows this, my brother-in-law is a fantastic photographer, CD Corona Photography. And I said, well, why don't you be our videographer? And he goes, well, I don't know how to do that. And I said, well, I'll show you. I'll teach you. And so I sort of took him under my production wing, and I go, okay, here's what I'm looking for. So when we plan this, I really produce this in the sense that, okay, these are the shots I'm looking for. These are the types of footage you're going to need. This is how we should do. And so with each visit that we do, he's working his videography muscle, but he's an excellent photographer, and he does all of our photos, all of our video stuff, and then I'll edit them. And I've got a team editing some of the footage right now, but thanks for checking that out. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's tough when we're all scrolling. Who knows what catches some people's eyes.
There's also lots of voice actors that could show up on my feed. There's one woman who it's so cool. She does voiceover, but also animates her character in real life shots. So, like, she'll be at, like, a library. She'll be basically filming the entire thing, and then her character will be holding up basically a little lav mic up to her
cool.
mouth. But it sounds so much more professional than that. And I think because, like, before we were kind of talking about how like, some people can just say, oh, I wake up and do this. Do you think that kind of approach is still possible, or would you say that requiring some experience or even just a better understanding of the voiceover industry?
Oh, it will never hurt you to know more. I think the people that wake up and just do it, I mean, I guess at this point I wake up and do it, but it's because I've been doing it for 20 years. But it's like, I think the people that do that, the longevity is limited. So it's like, let's say you make a great batch of pancakes on accident. Okay, well, what about when you need to make those pancakes next Tuesday at 10 a.m. for, Rob Paulson? If you don't know how to do that, you're going to be stressing about that until that time. And so do yourself a favor and go. Remember in school when they were like those 4 stages of consciousness where it's like, unconsciously ignorant, consciously ignorant.
Yes.
It's that. It's like, why would you want to live in that space? Wouldn't you want to live in the space of knowledge and knowing the most about stuff? It's almost like, and I think going back to what you're talking about earlier about the doom scrolling and stuff, I mean, it's literally by design. We literally have atrophied our critical thinking muscles, which connect to our focus muscles. Everyone's like, I don't know, I've got ADHD. It's like, did you diagnose yourself with that, or did you get a doctor to do it? No, I just think I do. It's like that times a million is what. And so I have a little bit of that. I think we all do. It's hard to avoid that. But I just try to bring it back to grounded, again, authentic balance. And I think that people that just wake up and do it, that's out of balance because it's an imbalance of ignorance. It's too much ignorance. They don't know what goes into all of those things. And I think ignorant, not saying that as a bad word, but the literal definition of it, they don't know X, Y, Z. And so it's, I don't think it serves them long term.
No, because when there was I don't want to say the actor because I'm not entirely sure if it was, but there was an actor who worked in a Netflix-based project, and they were talking about how the script was kind of reduced in quality because they were aware that their audience would be on their phones while they were watching the movie. And in my opinion, that's actually kind of sad. I don't think that you should sacrifice the quality of a script just to basically retain the attention, because he was talking more about like, oh, they kept repeating like what was about to happen every 15-30 minutes.
I'm working on a project right now where that is voiced in the booth, where they're like, you got to say it a little faster than that because the audience's attention span. And I agree with you. I think that you're rewarding that. Mm-hmm. I think because when you think about what's on YouTube, for example, I watch a lot of YouTube.
There's so much.
With the things that I'm drawn to, you would never get greenlit or funded in any sense in front of a board of directors. But they have millions of views. But the reason that I'm drawn into it is because it's intriguing, it's interesting, it's well produced. It ain't fast. And it's not because I don't like fast things. I mean, I worked on a show called Hitalia. Those are 4-minute episodes, and I talk super fast in that show. So I know what fast is. I've seen all 3 Sonic movies. I know what fast is. But what I'm drawn into is and there's so many YouTube things like that. There are so many things on YouTube that people make that defy all laws of production physics. They're not well lit, they're not well shot, they don't sound good, and some of them get millions of views. So what that should show people is that it's not about this algorithm of attention span that they should be playing to. Just make something interesting and it will find the right audience. Instead of trying to cater, and this is something, Tanner, that I'm trying to deal with, is when I make my own stuff and I'm producing things, I get anxious about stuff like that. I'm like, when I should be being like, no, what do I like? What would I watch? And that needs to be my heartbeat. Instead of thinking like, well, the kids would like this shot vertically or da-da-da-da, blah, blah, blah. It's something that I struggle with even still now. I'm in the midst of producing a couple of different unique original things, and I'm thinking about those things. But first and foremost, it should be like, because I would be entertained by it, because that's ultimately, even if they don't realize it, that's what an audience is looking for, is your unique voice coming through. So like when you see like Markiplier make something, it's by the numbers thrill. There's nothing, it's not, the uniqueness of it is his voice in it. Because if you break down the beats of his project, his movie, we've seen it 1,000 times, but that's not why people go see these movies. Because they want to see the unique voice. They want to see. That's why Christopher Nolan's Odyssey is going to be sold out, because people go, I want to see Nolan do that. And that's what I think sometimes these productions are not taking into account, is that quit catering to the ADD, blah, blah, blah. Like, you make something interesting and unique, and people will find it.
Yeah. Oh, my. So many things. I didn't want to interrupt, but basically, I have a very similar way of thinking, because I want to make my own stuff like separate, and I'm always running into the question. I was always running into the question. I've tried this like 3 times to start a YouTube channel, and it's always been, oh, what's the point? There's millions of people that are talking about different things, a lot of which I would want to basically delve into, but they're already like miles ahead. They've already covered it. People have already started watching them. And then I would say that answer essentially gave the inspiration to just bring my own voice to it. But that's it. That's just
well, you're totally right, Tanner. There are people that have done it before you, will do it after, have done it great, have done it poorly, but you just got to dive into those waters. I struggle exactly with that as well, and the fact that you're able to recognize that and then push past it puts you ahead of so many other people that won't get off the couch to do it. I think of a dear friend of mine right now. Every time he comes up with an idea, I don't have to say anything. He'll shoot himself in the foot by saying like, well, but it's already been done. It's like, yes, everything you're going to think of has already been done. But they don't but like think about if, gosh, I mean, think about. I was just watching this movie. Speaking of Al Pacino, love this movie. Is watching Heat. That's basically cop and robber movie, but if Michael Mann, the director, had said, there's already cop and robber movies out there, and he didn't do it, come on. I mean, that's a masterpiece of a film. So think about those things as you're proceeding and creating your vision. Keep going.
So you've mentioned throughout this interview that you have some projects you're working on. Is there anything that you can actually talk about right now?
Yeah, So, can I talk about those things? You know, so the things that I'm thinking of, it's like a season 2 of a show, and I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can mention that. Well, okay. I'll strip away some of the particulars. I'm working on the second season of a show. I did the first season of, from, I guess I can mention it. Paris Hilton she made a cartoon, and it's cute little cartoon, little girls. I mean, it is aimed for little baby Paris Hiltons, and they will love this show. It's got all the trimmings of a great little kids show. I'm still in the audiobook world, and I'm working on a series right now. Everyone's thinking of Dungeon Crawler Carl, I believe. And I was talking to Dante Bosco, a buddy of mine, and he goes, Have you heard of this? And I go, Dante, I do lit RPG series all the time. I can't. I just can't. I know it's good, but I'm like, I can't right now. I'm working on one. So I'm working on an audiobook series. And then my own IPs, I want to mention it, but there's other people involved, and I don't know if like all the contracty stuff has been worked out yet, so I'm going to hold off on that. But I'm also going to be working on a upcoming next month. I'm producing I'm jumping back into the podcast space. Years ago, I had something called a Toddcast. And so I would do Toddcasts with my fan club. I had a fan club, and I would put out Toddcasts for the subscribers and stuff like that. And sometimes we would do live episodes at conventions. And but I'm jumping back into the podcast space with the director of Miraculous Ladybug, Demon Slayer. And so we'll be jumping into a episodic podcast that we do once. We're going to do one season, see how it goes, do another season. It is a hybrid, so it's somewhat scripted, but then also somewhat free flow.
You have like your points, and then you're just
we got our approach. But yeah, so working on that, and video games, and Ledger Bound is a game that I've been working on from a really cool studio that branched off from another project that I had worked on previously. So Ledger Bound's another game that's coming out, and gosh, I think I can. And then there's another season of a show that involves adamantium that I don't know if my stuff is quite out yet. I don't think I can mention that, but there's a lot of stuff going on, thankfully.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and I think I can guess that last one, to be honest. Yeah. So actually, because I was trying to like figure out like what you could talk about, like when I went through your IMDb, and I actually ran into not an issue. I came across a question that I asked one of our previous guests, Sydney Michaela. She had a credit on Hoppers as additional voices, and so do you. And I wanted to ask if you are also aware of any work you did on a Hoppers, potentially.
Hoppers, give me 1 second.
It was the Pixar animated movie.
Oh, no, I would have loved to.
What the heck? Oh, okay, yeah. IMDb
when you
needs to get
said
their
Pixar,
stuff together.
I knew right away. Oh no, I haven't done anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've worked with Disney a lot, but not Pixar.
Right.
I wish. Gosh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, because we were trying to like basically come up with what the answer would be. like if there was like a recording session where you were just basically asked to do like background dialogue or something like that, and we just couldn't figure it out.
I would have, with something like that,
I feel like you would know.
Yeah.
Okay, so IMDb needs to get their stuff together. They're just adding random additional voice credits to
and then they don't add some things, and then I don't know who adds it, but some things they don't add, and then some things they're like, oh, he did 2 episodes of that, and I'm like, well, no, I was the lead, so I did all 26, but okay, like, so I don't know.
No, that's happened way too many times. Is like doing research, and then I end up saying like, oh, you did this because IMDb told me, and there's like, it's a little bit, it's a little different. I'm like, oh, great, awesome. So no, I'm glad I got that out of the way as well. So kind of starting to round this off. With so much experience in both the production and performing aspect of theater, film, voiceover, what is a piece of advice that you would give to someone who's aspiring to move into this creative field?
I always hear training. Everyone always says get experience. I mean, I feel like that's a given, but maybe some people need to hear that. I think the best advice that it always changes, because when people ask for advice, they're basically, in a sense, going to a doctor and saying, give me medicine. But not knowing the person, I don't know what they're allergic to. What are they? So in extension, what are they good at? What are they not good at? Are they a good self-starter? Have they had acting experience before? Do they have any gear? Do they know anything about tech? Where do they live? Like, so it's like a doctor would ask, like, do you have hypertension? Do you have history of high blood pressure? So it's like I don't have time to, oftentimes in travels, to ask all those questions. So to do a broad strokes bit of advice, I would say the thing that I've noticed that is the most helpful is accurately know your strengths and your weaknesses. Because too many times actors have very eager DNA. We all have eager DNA because we all, to a certain extent, want to people please. And that can lead us down a path where we think we can do any and everything. That's not true. I know that audiobooks are very hard for me, but there are some people that are very, very good at that, sit down and can knock that out. That is not a strength of mine, so I know that. I also know that a weakness of mine is like a South African accent. That's tough for me. But there's someone that they're amazing at that accent. So knowing those things, it all goes back to what you were talking about earlier, Tanner, where it's like knowledge. Knowing more about XYZ, knowing more about yourself. So know your strengths and your weaknesses, and then that's where you know you can thrive, and that's where you know maybe you should avoid that area. So that's probably the best kind of overall broad advice, I'd say.
Yeah, and there's like different tiers, of course, with like where you can get your information, but we live in an age where information is probably, I wouldn't say a currency, but it's definitely. It's a gift card. It's a gift card, essentially. I don't know if that even makes sense, but basically, there's so much information in the world where people can like choose who basically provides what they need, how they need it, and how they can digest it, essentially.
Yeah, and I think oftentimes when people come and ask, I do wonder how much research they've done before they've asked me that question. And many times not all the time, but many times it's not much. So before you ask that actor for advice, come to the table with a little bit of research that you've done on your own, legitimate research, so that you have a very specific question, because that's a very broad question of any advice? Well, I mean, what? Like here would be an alternate version of that, just off the top of my head. Any advice for an up-and-coming voice actor that is moving to LA in terms of how to get my foot in the door? That's a very specific question, as opposed to just like, how do I get fit? Well, okay, what do you eat? Are you close to a gym? Have you worked out before? So I think specificity helps. And that's where that goes to what I was just talking about, knowing your strengths and weaknesses, getting specific about your strengths and weaknesses.
Exactly. Todd, I think with all these great questions, I have some quick fire questions that I'd like to ask you now.
Okay.
So, first one. What is a line that you've recorded that is still in your head?
Oh, it's from Fairy Tale, and it's not all the time, but there are times when he'll pop up and it's like a little PSA, and it's like, "Hey kids, you ready for some more Fairy Tale? Well, don't sit too close to the TV." And he has like this thing he says, and then we don't see it for 10 episodes, and then it pops up again. So that one I always remember.
Oh. All right. Number 2. Can you sum up your voice acting career in one word?
Enduring.
Oh, that's a beautiful answer. Oh, I love it. All right. Number 3. What is the strangest thing you've had to do physically to get a voice right?
I was working on Resident Evil 2 and 3, and actually, that wasn't necessarily a voice thing. Well, when I had to voice match Adam Sandler in some of the Hotel Transylvania movies, I would have to say some of his dialogue before the take to get into his voice. So like that, and the line was I want to say it was this, but like the line that I had them play me was like the one where he's in Big Daddy, where he's like, can somebody get this kid a Happy Meal? Like I had to say something that got me into that place right before, and then I could go in and do the voice.
Oh, God. I remember watching that movie when I was a kid, and then no, I can't say that on here, but basically, it was funny. All right, number 4. Are there any dream projects that you would be eager to work on?
I guess that Hoppers movie with Pixar. Anything with Pixar would be awesome. I mean, they I've had the privilege and very fortunate to have worked on a lot of those types of projects where it's like, man, it would be a dream to work on, boom. And then I very, very thankful. But I would love to be, I know this isn't realistic necessarily, but I would love to be the like a lead in a Pixar movie. And the reason, because the knee-jerk reaction would be like, well, no, don't sell yourself short. It's not that. It's I know the industry. I know that the leads are reserved for, the Matt Damons and the on-camera slide. So I know that that's like, I'm like a slave looking at the gladiator going like, oh, I'd love to go in the arena. But it's like, I get that aspect. So that's why I say that. But that would be awesome to lead a Pixar film.
Exactly. There's a tier list. There's a set tier list that's already that exists, essentially.
It's a caste system, like CASTE system.
Yeah. All right. Final question. What is a vocal performance that you've recently enjoyed?
I have to give my hat, little tip of the hat to the guys that tackle Rick and Morty. I got to work with Ian, who is Rick in Scarlet, the movie you mentioned, and because when you listen to that back, when you hear his character yell, you're like, there's Rick Sanchez. But like when he, those guys really have done a really nice job. And then also, when I was talking with Meredith Lane, she directs Invincible. I was talking to her about Steve Yeun, and I said that I was really impressed with where Steve is compared to where he started in his voice acting journey. And I hope she didn't take offense to it, but I was like, he's grown. Like when he first started in season 1, he was okay. But now he's really doing well in terms of the VO performance on that series, I feel like.
Oh my God. Like Invincible is something, it's something else now. Because like I watched it when it came out, not knowing that it was going to be the phenomenon it became, and then I never read the comic at all. Steven Yeun, the only I guess the first thing I saw him in was Walking Dead, that was the first thing I saw him in, and then after that it was Nope, which also terrified me as well. But then his performance in Invincible, it basically elevated my entire outlook on his performance as an actor and a voice actor. And I'm every time I hear anything relating to the next season of Invincible or something like that, I'm always glued to my screen, basically. And
yeah, he's done well. I remember years ago when I first came out to LA, he and I would be auditioning for the same stuff, and we crossed paths, and I'd be like, "Oh, Steve, every time I see you in here, I should just get my valet ticket taken care of and head home, I guess." But yeah, no, he's a nice guy, very just like a down to earth guy. I mean, he's the type of guy. Every now and then I encounter actors where I'm like, "You're gonna work a long time. You're gonna work as long as you want." And I've told like when I was working with I've said that to Erica Lindbeck when I first cast her as Captain Marvel when I was working on a Marvel show. I said, "You're gonna work for as long as you want." And I said that to Aaron Yvette on Scarlet. I was like, "You've got it. You've got it." And so it was really, it's really cool to see that I was right. But yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy. Like, very rarely do I ever get to hear celebrity stories or other voice actor stories from voice actors who work in the industry, and I just love hearing them. I could listen to them all day, but man, we have there are a lot of I mean, it's like with any industry. I mean, there's a lot of greatness and there's a lot of everything in between, and so I just try to hover around the greatness fruit as much as I can, because it's good for your heart. So exactly.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned like Al Pacino is like one of the actors that you really looked up to when you were growing up. Are there actors or voice actors that you kind of look to now that can teach you something, like indirectly, that have led you to learn something new?
The actors that I look up to teach me things as people. So in terms of acting, yeah, I mean, I do see some things where I'm like, "Oh, that's cool," but more so as people, like Scott White, for example, who is the Human Torch in Marvel Rivals, and he was the main villain in Beastars the last season. That's a guy that started off on camera. He was in Mighty Ducks 2, and then he transitioned into voiceover. He's been in the business a long time. Really, really swell guy. Definitely, I would say like Rob Paulson is a guy. Both those guys are people that could absolutely be dicks because they've earned it, and they don't. Erica Lindbeck, she teaches me things as a person. So many people, those learning lessons come from places I don't ever expect. But I try to be open to absorbing into my soil the little things, the little nuggets that they don't even know they're dropping off just by being them. And so I really just try to be an observer and pick up those little tidbits along the way. Greg Chun's another one that's a very... Greg Chun was the English voice for the main character in Squid Game. And so he's another one, talented musician. You'd see his handiwork in like the Naked Gun reboot. He did a lot of the music for that. And he's a brilliant composer and just a nice guy. And there's a lot of folks that teach me things, and I hope I'm learning as much as I can from them. But yeah, so many people.
Todd, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me and give me all this insight.
Absolutely.
I've really enjoyed this conversation, and obviously it goes without saying, you're going to go far in this industry. I should know because I'm a professional actor as well. But no, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for the vote of confidence.
Yeah, of course. And I look forward to hearing and seeing more of your work going down the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for having me, Tanner. I appreciate the virtual hospitality.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Behind the Mic. If you enjoyed the conversation and you want to hear more from the voices behind your favorite characters, then be sure to follow us on Spotify and subscribe to us on YouTube. And don't forget to check out our other interviews as well as voiceover tips and industry news at voquent.com or on our social media. See you next time.